dari Komplek Balai Budaya Minomartani Ngaglik Lembang. Inilah Radio BBM, Jaringan Radio Komunitas Yogyakarta.
Radio Komunitas Balai Budaya Minomartani. Radio Budaya, Radio Warga, Radio Kita Bersama.
Hello Warga Budaya. Thank you for listening to BBM FM Community Radio, Yogyakarta, Indonesia.
Community Radio BBM FM, Creation for Nation.
Radio Komunitas BBM FM. Dukunglah budaya Indonesia.
(107.7) BBM FM Community Radio.
Greetings and hello to all listeners that are tuning in. We hope you guys are healthy and doing well. My name is Krisnan Rumamat Pabana.
And I'm Monica.
I'm Lisana Sidki Alia, and we are from Group 7. We will be talking about our experiences in the museum that we have visited, which is the Affandi Museum. But for that, we would like you listeners to know more about us. Seeing as you already know about our names, we will tell you about where we are from.
For starters, I'm from Jakarta.
And I'm from Semarang. Share out if you're from Semarang, guys.
Wait, so you two are not from here?
Yeah, are you from Yogyakarta, Alice?
Yeah, I was born and have lived here for my entire life. How's you guys' experience around Yogyakarta?
Well, actually, this is not my first time living in Jogja, because I often come here once or twice in a year due to families gathering at Christmas. So it is not really a surprise to me to experience living around Jogja. But as for visiting the museum, I haven't tried to visit it yet until this final task came up, and it turns out it was pretty fun visiting one of the iconic museums in Jogja, especially about arts and paintings. That's one of my favorite interests, actually. Then, how about you, Krishna?
Well, I'm almost the same as you, Monique. I've been to Jogja several times. My family likes to move around, and my mom also has some business outside of Jakarta. We like to visit Jogja sometimes and even rent a house. And I think I remember correctly, my sister had gone to a school near around Jogja, so there's some month where we had to stay here. Although this is about new-ish, you could say, living inside the heart of Jogja. I really like it here. A lot of good food, and it's really cheap too. Although about the museum, I don't really go to a lot of museum. and I don't really enjoy it oftenly. But Affandi Museum is actually surprisingly really good. His work is really interesting, and I really appreciate it.
Wow, I see. Yeah, it is crucial for us, especially as university students, to discover local museums. You know, we got a lot of places to visit in this heritage city, right?
Yes, and the visitors to Jogja museums into this generation has actually increased from the previous year, right? One of the important reasons for why so is because of social media. A lot of people love to promote places through TikTok, Instagram, which almost everyone owns and use it oftenly, right? We can go looking for the preview from TikTok or Instagram before we plan to visit those places.
Yeah, a lot of people like to promote stuff through posts, ads, and generally talking about it. It may not seem much, but subconsciously, everyone will remember it and be interested once a lot of people are talking about it, that is.
Glad to know it, because when those places were raised before social media and any kinds of viral things, those heritage places, especially museums, are less attractive for the younger generation. In fact, we can get new insights from those places, right?
Yeah, I guess so. I remember a bit on when I was young. I really am not interested in this kind of stuff. But once you grow older and learn a lot more stuff, you start to appreciate things more and be more interested in it. Assuming you like art and not be corrupted by social media and stuff. But let's not dive into that rabbit hole and talk about the museum and arts.
Okay, you listeners must be curious about what we see around the museum, right? But before we could talk about that, are there any listeners that are interested in art? Or maybe you two would like to talk about it?
Well, I do love arts. I also love to paint and create some of my own in my spare time.
What kind of painting do you like or make?
Actually, I'm still learning the watercolor technique and I'm interested in realism paintings. It's really fun and interesting. And it's take a long time, I guess, because I have to be more patient, way more than I learned before. Because when we do with the watercolor technique, it's actually we have to be more patient with the layer, and then yeah, that's it.
Wow, that's so interesting. So, how long have you been learning about paintings?
I've been learning for about a year, I guess so.
A year? Wow, that's a lot of time.
Yeah,
Since when did you get into painting?
it's actually when I was in high school.
In high school, do you like to draw and stuff since then?
Yeah, back when I was a child, I do love to draw and start learning sketching. And then because I got bored from those stuff, I moved to paintings.
That's an interesting story. I guess when you first try it, you instantly like something click in you, and you instantly like it, and then you start to do it over again and just train it, right?
Yes, exactly.
That sounds nice. I wish I could do that.
Okay, guys, before we jump deeper into our topic of discussion, let's have a short break and we will continue it later. Don't go anywhere and stay tuned for more. Before we explain further, basically the Museum Affandi is museum as the name implies, of a few of Affandi's works that he has created before his passing. There are some copies of his work, but there are still several real ones that was kept there like a treasure. One of the example is his cherished cars, bikes, clothing, brushes, slippers, old pipes that was used for smoking, his achievement, the records of what he has done, and some few paintings. There are definitely some history that will be explained more by Monique.
Okay, thanks Lisa. So guys, I'm going to talk about the history of Affandi. But a little disclaimer first. When we visited the museum, we only got the chance to look around at the first gallery because the other galleries were used as an exhibition for a field trip for a group of high school students that the school had a book for them to use. So, when we're talking about Affandi Museum, we're only going to talk about the first gallery. Okay, it is very interesting because when we came to the museum, there are a lot of insights that we got, whether it's from his paintings, the moral of the story from each art, even the architecture from the building, etc. For your information, Affandi's house is a part of the Affandi Museum, and it is pretty unique. The one that got my attention is, if you guys realize, the rooftop has the unique shape, which is a banana leaf. You guys must be wondering why it can be. So, at the moment, there were chickenpox outbreaks, and there was no vaccine or medication available to treat it at the time. Could you imagine that? Affandi and his siblings were also afflicted with chickenpox. Then, his parents used the banana leaves to cover their body in order to cool it down and not to be swarmed by flies. That story inspired him to adopt its shape for the roofing of his house and museum. It was from this story that Affandi had the idea to make the roof of his museum similar to banana leaves. No matter how hot the weather is in Jogja, you will definitely feel cool, chilly in the museum surroundings. Next, this gallery first was built in 1962 by Museum Affandi and created by Affandi personally using the money he had made from selling his paintings. Wow, such an effort. Then, in 1974, it was officially opened by the Director General of Culture, Professor Ida Bagus Mantra. And then, the tour guide we got at the time also explained that the gallery too was carried out with assistance from the government of Indonesia through the person who served as the second and the longest serving president of Indonesia. Yes, he is President Suharto. In 1987, construction got underway and officially opened on June 9, 1988 by Professor Dr. Fuad Hassan, who is the Minister of Culture and education. Finally, for the last gallery, 3 was built by Yayasan Affandi in 1999 and inaugurated by the governor of the special region of Yogyakarta, Sri Sultan Hamengkubuwono X. Meanwhile, the Affandi family's paintings were the reason behind the construction of Gallery 4 in 2002.
Yes, that's right, guys. The development of this building truly involved a lot of crucial people in Indonesia.
Wow! I never thought that there is so much, a lot of important and higher-ranking people that would help in building this museum. And there was some nice information that you bring to us, Monique. I guess I can talk about some of the paintings. It would be too long if we talk about all of it, so I'm gonna pick some of it that I found it really interesting. That being the self-portrait that is from 1938. Behind in description of the self-portrait that is from 1938. Behind in description of the painting. Behind the portrait was a face of an elderly person. Affandi imagined that was his father's face. He never knew his father because he passed away when Affandi was very young. To paint himself was his object study since he started his career as a painter. This piece of work that Affandi had made was not the first painting that he had made. The first one was actually a naked model back. At that time, Affandi couldn't afford a model because it would cost a lifetime of fortune for him at the time. So his wife provided the model as she uses her body as the model for Affandi, but with only one what's it called again? With only one condition, yes. That being, her face cannot be seen and only her back can only be painted.
Okay.
So about this self-portrait, I think it's a bit tragic yet a bit touching too. The tragedy of it because, of course, Affandi couldn't know who his father looked like and what was he like when he was still alive, and could only know how he was through the stories of people that are close to him and know about him. But the really touching part of it is that he tried to paint the face of his father. If you see the painting, you could see something like a silhouette or like a ghostly figure behind Affandi's when he was young. You could see the hand on his left shoulder grabbing onto him, and a face around right on top of his head. Next is one of my also favorite one, that being called Death in My Hand. The description of this painting is it was Affandi's hand holding a dead bird in it. If you, I wish you all can visit this museum just so you can see the painting that he made, and which I really like it. The description of this painting would be: this work was made at the end of World War II when everyone was tired of dearth. A short note mourning the death of a small bird is attached to the painting. The cruelty of human being. Now my bird is not able to sing in the morning anymore. Perhaps the hunter has already felt so hunt-free. And he has the weapon. Those people who wants to be an expert in hunting sell the weapon. So no more death for my bird. Each morning when Affandi, after he was awake, he would make some coffee. Before he sits on the porch. At that time, a lot of birds began chirping, and to him it was like a soothing melody of sound. He would do it regularly until World War II happened and no more birds can sing. He felt really sad about the death of it.
Wow, that's interesting.
I think that will be all from me. Stay tuned for more information about what you can find in the museum other than Affandi's painting.
Hello and welcome back with us. Thank you for staying with us.
So now I'm going to explain about the collections in the Affandi Museum. In the museum, you will find a cool collection in the first gallery, showing stuff that belong to Affandi. There are his old slippers, his shirt, the brushes he used for painting, a bucket, and some pencils. Fun fact about his shirt, he always used a white shirt while painting. He will never take off his shirt if the shirt hasn't got stiff because of the color.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The museum also tells us about Affandi's simple painting tools like brushes, oil paint, tubes, and a bucket. He liked using flambrand for oil painting and used different brushes for his natural and cool painting styles.
Wow!
By the way, guys, the museum doesn't just have paintings. There are statues too. One of them is called self-portrait, and it is made from clay and concrete. There is also a copy of a statue showing Affandi and his daughter Kartika. And guess what? In one corner of the room, you can spot Affandi's special car, which is a 1976 Mitsubishi Galant. It was his favorite. After Affandi passed away, many people wanted to buy his car, but his daughter Kartika said no to all the offers. She kept the car because it meant a lot to her dad, even though people were willing to pay a lot of money for it. So, the museum isn't just about paintings. It's a cool way to know more about Affandi's life and the things he loved. If you guys are interested in visiting this museum, you can easily find it on Google Maps, or if you want to take notes for the address, it is located in Jalan Laksda Adi Sucipto, number 167, Papringan, Catur Tunggal, Depok Sleman, Yogyakarta. It is open from Monday to Saturday from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. So make sure to check the schedule first and don't forget to bring your wallet to pay for the ticket. The ticket price for local is 50,000, for foreign is 100,000 rupiah. Foreign students is 50,000 and local students including university students is 25,000. Also, if you want to take a picture or videos inside the museum, you should pay additional fees of 20,000 rupiah. By the way, if you have a KTM or a student card, you will get a discount and only need to pay 15,000.
Yes, that's right, guys. From the purchase of the ticket, you can bring it to the cafe nearby to exchange for a free beverage on their cooler. So, make sure to not throw it away after visiting the museum. Alright, I think that's all about from us. Hope you got more insight about the museum that we visited and arts in general. Hopefully, this will motivate you more on visiting a museum like Affandi's and do some artsy stuff. We hope you listeners enjoy our little broadcast about Affandi's museum and arts. It was a ton of fun doing this, and we hope that we are able to entertain you all. Signing out, this is Monica,
Krishna,
And Lisa
from Group 7, and thank you for listening to us.
goodbye.
Terima kasih. Anda sedang mendengarkan Radio Komunitas BBM FM 107,7 MHz.
Dipancarkan dari kawasan Balai Budaya Minang